of radical women.
Hello everyone, how are you doing? Let me hear it, come on! Woo! Thank you. I'm very excited to be here today, and I want to thank the organizers for inviting me. I'm very proud to stand here with my community. I've attended the Dyke March for several years, but this is my first time speaking. And I have something to say. I'm so freaking hungry for major change in this society, and I am damn tired of waiting. We queers have rallied, sat in, lobbied, marched, and fought back against sexual repression. Don't Ask, Don't Tell has finally been repealed, but where's our implementation? The majority of Americans now support gay marriage and can get married in New York, which is awesome. But where's our full country legalization? We're still facing job discrimination with ENDA, the Employment Non-Discrimination Act, being stalled. It's been a long struggle to move it and make it inclusive of transgender folks. I mean, an equal right to work is so basic, so why don't we have it already? Let's face it, our laws are gutless. The improvements that have been made are because we in the gay community have made it happen by protest in the streets. We've made great gains, but unfortunately this has not brought us full equality. So we need to send a message. Now this requires audience participation, so I hope you're paying attention. So say it with me now. Out of the closet, into the streets, queers united can't be beat. Out of the closet, into the streets, queers united can't be beat. Okay, remember that one. That's excellent. We're totally ready to go. We're in an ironic situation. Here we are fighting for equal employment rights, and our jobs are disappearing. We're fighting for marriage rights so we can offer our partners health care, but the costs are outrageous. We want to end Don't Ask, Don't Tell, but we're also fighting to end the wars that are sucking all the money out of social services here at home. And many of us can't afford school. Our homes are getting foreclosed on. This is exactly why the fight for queer rights and economic justice cannot be separate. Politicians, both Democrats and Republicans, are not doing anything to stop the recession. They're cowardly when it comes to gay rights. They claim they have to compromise. They claim the budget cuts hurt them too. Really? Because I don't see them taking a pay cut. As the economic crisis brings the hurt, the right wing sees an opportunity to play on people's anxieties. The bigots are chomping at the bit to rip away every victory we've won. The lack of real action on the part of elected officials empowers these groups. Tea Party, anyone? And it's not just Sarah Palin or Michelle Bachmann that take center stage. These ultra-right forces come in many factions. And we saw that just last weekend with the arrival of the Westboro Baptist Church protesting the Pride Picnic and Slut Walk. So I guess everybody heard about that? It's pretty sick, right? That's right. Let's let them hear it. Boo! Radical women and many other brash women and men were there to give the Westboro Church their proper kiss-off for setting foot on our soil. So whether it's the so-called respectable politicians like John McCain or wackos like Fred Phelps, they all promote sexism, homophobia, racism, and immigrant bashing. They want women to be barefoot, pregnant, and dependent on male patriarchs. They want to control all sexuality as a means to control us. We cannot ignore these groups or tendencies as crazy or just wanting to get attention. They are organized and practice at scapegoating the usual suspects every time. Reactionaries are multi-issue, and that's one aspect that we queers need to be as well. So we have to work together to defeat these insidious forces. This current system generates poverty, unemployment, political repression, inequality, and the destruction of human and natural resources. It depends on division, so we need unity. I'm the coordinator of Thank you. Sisters Organized for Survival, a community campaign to fight back against budget cuts. It was started by radical women. When you talk budget cuts, women are always the hardest hit. Poor women, single mothers, elders, and these are also the women who need to lead the fight back. I got involved in this campaign because I work in healthcare. I see how people are denied care regularly because of lack of money. As a queer woman and feminist, I know the power of hitting the streets and fighting for one's rights. I'm inspired when I saw the women of Egypt calling for protest against their repressive government. Or the numbers of people who occupied the Capitol in Wisconsin for days. Do you guys remember that? That is exactly the kind of militancy we need here. It's the only way to stay sane in a world that will push you to the edge. SOS led a successful fight in 2010 to stop budget cuts, stop the cuts to the state basic health plan. This year we initiated a petition drive calling for joint labor and community action. And I'm proud to say that it resulted in the April Days of Action with thousands of people protesting in Olympia. And let me tell you something I learned. Do not mess with home health care workers. Oh, the governor didn't want to meet with them? Well, the hell with that. They just charged right in. Some folks got arrested, but I think the point was made. When the state subsidizes greed instead of need, our communities suffer. Our queer community is being devastated by these cuts. Local health care programs that provide HIV and AIDS services have taken a hit. Queer youth living on the streets are denied housing when shelter programs are cut. Street outreach services, their funds have decreased. Lambert House, they have no hope of expanding their desperately needed services. Queer youth need to have a place to connect with each other. I remember how important the community center that I went to in college was to me in my development as a young queer and activist, and this should not be a novelty. And women are being devastated by the cuts. Our burdens become even heavier as we try to fill the gaps. Child care subsidies, home health for the sick and elderly, cut. The displaced homemaker program that helps women re-enter the workforce was completely eliminated. And let me point out that this budget was signed by a woman governor. I know which side she's on, and it ain't ours. Young people are being devastated by these cuts. Public education was damaged big time. Tuition costs are skyrocketing, and it's getting so only the children of the rich can afford to go to college. And working people are being devastated too. The rights of the worker, such as collective bargaining for wages and benefits, are slowly being chipped away. Many of us queer folk who work in the public sector and helping professions have to deal with cuts to programs as well as potential layoffs. This includes librarians, social workers, healthcare workers. Did you all hear about those so-called greedy state workers who were being demonized in the press for not wanting their salary or benefits to be taken from them? I'm pretty sure that my friend who works in a child care center at a community college is anything but greedy. Just saying. So you're starting to see a pattern here, because I certainly am. There are countless examples of queers who are part of this fight back. For instance, in the newspaper that I helped write, Freedom Socialist, you can read about 4 activists from all around the country, including here in Seattle, who are making a difference. From ages 73 to 23, they are part of the leadership of movements against police brutality and budget cuts, for union rights and inclusive housing on college campuses. These lesbian and gay male activists see how queers are affected in all aspects of life. They are bold and fabulous. They see the working class connection to those who are struggling to make the same survival. I did one of these interviews and was so excited to learn about a woman named Ayanna Ford from Washington, D.C., who is a black lesbian activist who is fighting with a group called Save Our Safety Net. And their group, like our SOS campaign here, is calling for tax reform that taxes the wealthy more than working people in order to save human services. Right on, let's hear it for them. Come on. In order to keep vital services, we have got to tax the rich. Gates or Paul Allen's bank accounts have not suffered in this recession. The SOS campaign here in Seattle devised a Flip the Funding brochure that has come up with real solutions. To start, we should tax the profits of oil companies. In-business tax exemptions for places like Safeco Field and Seahawks Stadium. All right, these reforms would be a savings of over $2 billion. $2 billion. $2 billion. This could fully fund the state food stamp program, child care assistance, and dental care. Corporate handouts that prop up high rates of private profit are criminal when times are desperate. If the sick and hungry have to tighten their belts, why shouldn't Starbucks, Boeing, Microsoft, and the rest? Frankly, these corporations would not have what they have without our labor. And then there's the biggest tax vampire of all, the ongoing Iraq and Afghanistan wars. Remember those? Yeah, they're still going on. It's currently costing the federal government $10 billion per month. Billion, $10 billion, that's outrageous. State and federal lawmakers have got to end these ever-expanding disasters. I mean, they have the power to do it. And with that money, Washington State could open up the basic health plan to all people. So, to me, one thing is clear. The current patriarchal, profit-driven system will not meet all of our needs. Capitalism is sowing the seeds of its own destruction by killing people in war overseas, overspending into a massive deficit at home while thousands are freezing in the streets. So I say, enough. What do you say? Enough. Thank you. We can use these turbulent times as a springboard for launching a better, humanistic, feminist, and homo-friendly society. One that is based on sharing and the distribution of wealth that we create with our labor. This is a vision of a socialist society. And I think we can make it happen. But we need to get organized. Working to elect Democratic candidates has not worked. Donating to lobbying groups in DC is not enough. To be effective, we have got to get involved and join organizations. And there are many here today. We must support democratically run grassroots organizations with radical, action-oriented agendas. This, and only this, is going to put us on the road to collective freedom. My group, Radical Women, is a one-stop shop for the multi-issue organizer. Thank you. We have been dedicated to fighting for queer rights before Lady Gaga. Now don't get me wrong, I like Lady Gaga, I appreciate what she does. I'm not anti-Gaga. But we have members in our organization that have organized some of the first gay pride marches here in Seattle. We've defended abortion clinics from the likes of right-wing fascists, just like the Westboro Baptist Church. We are an organization that supports and trains women leaders. We believe that women of all colors and sexualities can unite the diverse movements for justice into one great big revolutionary rainbow. And we want our brothers and everyone in between to be part of that too. So get involved, lend a hand, you are definitely needed. Radical Women has a table in the back. You can see the giant red banner and the woman in the red shirt waving her hand. So if you like what I have to say, want to know more, please come back to the table. So I want to end my talk with a chant that my sister C, who's right up here in the front, gave at Slut Walk last weekend. So, are you all listening? We're going to chant together now, okay? All right. This is what a feminist looks like. Let's try it again. This is what a feminist looks like. This is what a feminist looks like. All right, that's awesome. Thank you so much. Glad to be here. Happy Pride.